It's so nice to talk to you. It's nice to see you. I was gonna ask how fierce you feel. You look fierce.
Thank you. I mean, I feel very, very fierce today. I had some great makeup done today. I'm feeling good. It's almost Friday. I'm feeling great.
Is that, I mean, that's a lot farther than I get in my days. I mean, I'm lucky if I get out of my sweatpants.
Yeah, I've lately things have been kicking into high gear because I'm promoting a song. I'm going back to work on American Horror Story. There's just a lot. I'm producing television shows. Like there's a lot on my plate right now. So I need to, at the very least, if I can put on a face at the beginning of the day, then it can take me throughout all my meetings.
The Fierce song, a charitable single to bring awareness to violence against Black and Latinx trans women. How did the song come together?
It's pretty amazing. Anthony Preston from A2 Music contacted me. He had this song that he had been working on with Ultra Nate, and she, has been on the dance charts for, just a while, rocking the dance charts as a Black woman. But they created this song that they wanted to behind the thing behind the music as Anthony being a Black queer man, her being someone in the dance genre who's been around LGBTQ folks and has been an ally for so long. They wanted this to be like a rally cry, an inclusive one, to include not just include all women, but to also bring light to the issues that trans women were facing. And so, they brought on Mila Jam, and Mila Jam was in LA, and she ended up singing the second verse to the song. So then, by the time Anthony got to me, and like he was coming to me to help produce the project Fierce and just help get it out there and what have you. And he said there was going to be a coffee book and also a song. And I was like, wait, what, a song? And so he plays the song for me. I was like, Anthony, I need to be on this song. You need to put me on this song. So I went in singing, and I ended up singing the hook to the song, "Be Legendary, Be Necessary, Extraordinary." And I guess the rest is history from there. But we wanted to have it with, now it's got two trans women and a cis woman standing in solidarity, really calling everyone to the dance floor to celebrate themselves.
Tapping into the message of the song, it being a rally cry for raising awareness for a very serious epidemic, this violence against trans women, which just seems to escalate and escalate. What can those who want to get involved and support trans women to help end violence against trans women do? Where do they go? What should they do if they've never even considered it before? Where do you encourage that they start?
Well, here's the deal, is that I want to encourage folks to realize that we are in the year 2021, and that most of us, who are a little older, thought that we'd be flying on skateboards by now, or that we'd be, doing a lot of things by now. But actually, we are still fighting for some of the same rights that we were fighting for during the 60s and the 50s and even before. And so, what I want folks to realize is that when we talk about the trans equality or racial equality, none of these conversations are new. They are just new to you, which means that you, there's so much information out there for you to get on your own. There's no need to use the labor of a Black trans woman who's already burdened by society. There's no need to ask a Black woman to give you the insight on Black Lives Matter when you can hit play on so many of the accounts from organizations to individual activists who are telling you exactly what the issues are. So what I would say is easily open up the Google browser and start and just say trans rights. Go there. LGBTQ rights, racial justice. These are just keywords that you can, kind of Google, but then understand that I don't care whether you are white, Black, Latino, Asian, I don't care what ethnicity, religion, ability, sexual orientation, whoever you are. I want you to recognize that you have power to change the world, which means you have power to change the things that are going on right now, the violence against trans women. How? By learning how to speak up from your own perspective in your own circles and in your own workplaces and in your own homes. know that there is always an opportunity. And there's for my Buddhist sort of practice, I learned this acronym now. When you want to know when is the time that I should speak up or say something, now, because no opportunity wasted. Even if you don't feel that that person can fully take on what you are going to say, you can at least drop a seed now that will blossom later.
While we're on the topic of shedding light on the danger trans men and women experience on a daily basis, your role as Candy Ferocity on Pose did just that. So this fierce single feels very appropriate. When you look back on your time on Pose, what do you hope is the lasting legacy of your role?
You know, for me, it was never about the awards, although it would have been nice to be recognized for, the performance, because there's always been this conversation around trans actors and saying that, folks like Jared Leto or, these cis men are more qualified to play trans women when, I just played Candy Ferocity and the world listened and the world cried. Because I know this because they tagged me in all of their videos. And I don't mean that in a light way. I mean that I felt the wave of love from the audience because they tagged me in it on Twitter, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, on every platform to let me know that they get it now and that they watched it with their family and now their family gets it now. So for me, that's all the reward that I need, is knowing that the world is changing from something that I helped put out into the world.
On American Horror Story, your character didn't identify as trans. Is it important to you that trans actors not just be seen as people who can only play trans characters?
I think we're finally getting to the point here. The point is, an actor is an actor is an actor. Sometimes people want to say actress, but in reality, most of us who are on that feminist vibe, we still say actor, because an actor is an actor is an actor. And at the end of the day, I can play a trans woman if I'm the best person for the part. And I can play a cis person or not, or just a person in the script if I'm the best person for the part. But you're not gonna tell me that Ving Rhames is gonna play a better trans woman than myself. I mean, that was cute in Holiday Heart. That was, fine for the time, and he did his best with that. Let me tell you. But it's you now. You can see these pieces of art will stand next to each other when you compare the performances of Blanca, and India Moore and Haley Sahar and Dominique, or, Shakeen's from, Difficult People, or, Alexandra Gray, Alexandra Billings. There's now Laverne Cox, Trace Lissette. There are so many trans actors out there who are proving the point that we can represent ourselves better than anybody else can, but also we can play everyday roles, because why? Trans people exist in everyday society.
I was thinking of Disclosure, the documentary about trans depiction in the media that you were a part of, and it got me thinking that there have been many conversations around what it's like to be trans in Hollywood. What is not talked about when it comes to being trans in this business that needs to be talked about?
I think what we haven't talked about yet, which I love that Disclosure, talked a lot about how trans representation and in media has been throughout our history. But I'm now a consulting producer on a show that's coming up. Can I say something? I think so. But like, I'm consulting producer for something for network television that's going to be coming up, that is going to talk about what it's like for us as actors actually in the industry. So I think that we haven't actually talked about that, like what our experience is in the casting room, dealing with casting directors, being on set as a trans person, and the challenges that we face. So definitely look forward to that conversation during Pride Month in June on network television on E. But yeah, and as honestly, as someone who works in front of the camera as well as behind the camera, I'm going to continue to look to how we can tell these stories from different angles and be even more inclusive.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Women's History Month, since this feature will run as part of our celebration of women, with a focus on women who happen to be trans. Um, so I wanted to ask you, why is it important to, when we celebrate Women's History Month, also make sure we celebrate trans women?
Well, Here's the thing, is that it's just as simple as this. Trans women are women. So if we're going to celebrate, truly celebrate the beautiful, diverse spectrum of womanhood, then we need to celebrate Black women. That includes Black trans women, Latinx women, women who have been struggling with fertility in this world to bring life to this culture, to women who have taught our because so many times when we talk about racial justice movements and things like that, women are just left out of the narrative, when it's many times women who are leading that narrative, and many times trans women who are in those spaces leading that narrative. So if we're truly going to uh, be thorough when we celebrate Women's Month, and I will go forward to even say when we talk about men's issues,
Mhm.
that we talk and include trans men as well, because trans men are men.
Yeah, it really sounds, it's as simple as that, right? Except for
Yes.
some people it's not. So it's important to still talk about it, I think. Um,
It's important to talk about it until we understand that, because when we say Black Lives Matter, we're still in a situation where if I go to certain rallies in certain places and I say Black Lives Matter and someone recognizes that I'm trans, I might be in danger. So in these moments, they're saying Black Lives Matter, except for you, tranny, except for you homo, or you this or that, And so we have to make sure that that's why I say Black trans lives matter, is because I wouldn't have to say it if I didn't have to say it.
exactly. Besides yourself, who is the most influential trans woman you know?
I mean, for me, I feel like Marsha P. Johnson is one of the most influential trans women, because her name is finally echoing throughout, this movement to understand who we should be focusing on. But also voices like Janet Mock, who have, even though she's younger than I am, she is someone who is really pioneering this industry and opening up many doors for many of us to walk through, including myself.